Hello and welcome to Monday, and welcome to another review, because we've been watching more Dragon Ball Z, and we just finished Season 2, so this is the Dragon Ball Z Season 2 review. First off, these are the Blu-Ray sets. I know we already had one review of Dragon Ball Z on the same thing. We're watching the same set, obviously. And if you're interested in knowing about like picture quality and all that stuff, everything that I said in the Season 1 review still holds up, so you can go check that out. It's 16:9 cropped, but it's pan and scan, and they do a really good job with it. However, that said, this is the first time that I felt like there was a few things that
you missed.
Yeah, and it wasn't a major thing, but there was a few shots when the Ginyu Force is first introduced, because they have such varying heights.
And there's a few of them.
Yeah, like I think Berter's head was cut off, and like Goldo I think maybe wasn't in the frame or something. So like that said, that's pretty good, because out of the entire, how many, it's like 39 maybe episodes? I don't know. It's a bunch. It's nearly 40 episodes. 35. So out of 35 episodes, there was like a few moments in one or two episodes where I was like, that guy's head's cut off. But otherwise, it was pretty good. So otherwise, everything that I said in the first season...
The review for Season 1?
Yeah, still applies. Now, because I did this in the first review for Dragon Ball Z, I'm going to do it again because I thought it was fun. That said, everything is going to be spoilery unless you've seen Season 2, which is the Namek Saga, or the Namek/Captain Ginyu Saga. Mal, will you give me your best recap of the events that took place in this season? As a reminder, where we left off at the end of Season 1 was our heroes on Earth had decided that they were going to go to Namek, and then they had been on the ship for like a day, and that was where Season 1 ends. So tell me what happens during Season 2.
They run into some kids. That was a complete waste of time.
Okay, that happened.
And
True.
then they land on some other world that someone made them think was Namek.
They landed on fake Namek, yes.
And they spend a good amount of time there doing nothing.
Correct.
Because it's not actually Namek.
Yeah.
And then they actually get to real Namek. And like, Frieza's there. And they're like, what do we do? And so they kind of like hide out for a while.
Okay.
And like, Vegeta goes and gets healed and then shows up and he's like, I'm gonna take out Frieza. But like, he's not capable of it.
Okay, yeah.
And like, Frieza and his men are going around getting the Dragon Balls. But they don't have all of them yet. So Frieza gets one. And then what?
Well, to be fair, I feel like
there was a lot.
There's actually a ton of stuff, and I think the series becomes a lot more complicated in a good way in Season 2. In Season 1, it's really simple. It's like there's a Saiyan coming, and then he comes, and it's what's his face? Raditz. And then they take care of him really quick, and then they're like, there's more Saiyans coming. And then more Saiyans come. That's the entire thing. But this season is actually absurdly complicated because there's so much stuff that's going on. Because, yeah, they get there. The Gohan and Krillin get there. And Bulma.
Yeah.
Bulma's there, even though she's not terribly relevant for most of the time that they're on the planet. And then Vegeta's there. And they're all trying to get the Dragon Balls. And there's this really crazy game of hide and seek that's going on. Because, like, they're trying to get the Dragon Balls before everyone else does. But Frieza already has, like, 5. I think Frieza has 5.
When they first get there, I think he has 4. Because they watch him get 5.
They watch him get the 5th one. Then Dodoria and Zarbon are there. And Krillin and Gohan, like, they're watching them take out one of the village. Dende is there, and then Dende gets away. And then they meet up with Dende later.
They take Dende out.
Yeah, they take him away from there. They also attack Dodoria. Vegeta goes on a friggin' killing spree. Vegeta kills the one guy that was way back on the planet he got healed on. I forget what his name is. But, looked like a green guy with a big head or something. He kills him. Then he kills Dodoria. Then he kills Zarbon. Then he kills... Who else does he kill?
The whole village. The one village.
Yeah, he's very, like, it's weird though because he's the bad guy, but at the same time, you now have two bad guys, and as you start to go through the season, you end up starting to root for Vegeta in a way, because there's something worse than Vegeta. But they do a really good job of maintaining that he's really terrible, and like any chance he gets, he just kills you. Because when Goku finally shows up, because that happens.
Finally.
It takes Gohan, Krillin, and Bulma 30 days to get to Namek, which is the process of like 5 episodes. It takes Goku 6 days, which takes like 10 episodes. So like it takes a lot longer.
It felt longer than 10.
Yeah, it's because they just keep cutting back to it, so it makes it feel even longer. He's like, oh, now I'm training.
I'm still training.
I'm training at 10 times gravity, but now 20 times, now 50 times, now 100 times. Oh, now I have to don a space suit and walk outside, but my feet are glued to the capsule. The show's a bit ridiculous. But I do think that, like, all of the intricacies are quite nice. Like, there's actually a lot of crazy stuff going on, and there was a few times where we were watching where Mao would be like, man, what does happen next? Because you would expect like something to go one way.
I was like, I think I finally got it figured out. This is what's gonna happen. And it would do something completely different. And I'm like, now what's gonna happen?
So there's a lot of twists and turns, and there's a lot of times where you think something's gonna happen, and then it
like
is completely different.
When Vegeta took all the Dragon Balls from
Who?
Frieza.
Yeah.
Because like they tried to heal him to get the answers like of where the last one was.
He hid a Dragon Ball, and they needed to find Zarbon. Like nearly killed him. Frieza was mad. He had to go back and get Vegeta, bring him back and heal him, and then Frieza busts out and throws all the Dragon Balls away, and then hides.
See, I thought because they were all thrown, like Bulma, Krillin, and Gohan were gonna go get them. Like, that's how it's gonna happen. No.
Well, it's just funny because like this entire season, most of the Dragon Balls have been recovered.
Yeah.
And for a lot of the season, a lot of the second half of the season, they're all in one spot. And nobody knows how to get it started because there's a password. And I felt like there was a few plot holes in like season 1 and season 2 that, like when we were watching it, I was like, wait, does that make sense? I'm not sure. But then I forgot about it. But the one thing that doesn't make sense, it seems glaring unless it's addressed later and I don't remember, is the fact that Goku knows that there's a password needed. That doesn't make any sense to me. Because when Goku arrives, and he's talking to everybody, and they're like, they haven't made their wish yet. And Goku just immediately doesn't think about it, he just goes, oh, they probably don't know the password. Like, what password? How do you know that there was a password? I mean, the only thing that makes sense to me is that maybe, like, King Kai knows, and he told Goku, but even then, if that information was supposed to be given, then they probably should have said that. So if they don't address that in season 3, then that's a big plot hole that's not explained. Like, why does Goku know that? That doesn't make any sense. And that could even be one of the weird things that maybe...
Translation?
Yeah, like maybe it's fixed in Kai. Like maybe he doesn't actually say that or something. But that's the one thing, because like Krillin... and actually later in the season, Krillin gets all of the balls, and he calls the dragon.
He's like, oh, I know it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was just trying to call the dragon like he would on Earth, even though he did it in a really stupid way.
Spin, 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 spin.
He does this weird dance or some bull crap, and then he goes to call the dragon, and it doesn't happen. Anyway, Vegeta ends up killing not only all those people, but actually he kills every single member of the Ginyu Force. Except for the last one, Captain Ginyu, who is now a frog. And that's actually how the season ends. All of the 4 of the Ginyu Force are dead, and the last one is a frog who spends his time hopping along. And that is where it comes to an end. So, compared to the first season, what did you think of season 2?
It was busy.
It was really busy. But did it do a better job of entertaining filler, or was it like infuriating filler?
Some of it was entertaining, some of it was like, really, come on, just Goku get there already.
Well, I feel like Dragon Ball Z has 2 main types of filler. There's filler, where it's doing things like, oh, we wound up on the fake planet, and then there's stretching. And there's a lot of stretching. And sometimes I feel like one is better than the other, because sometimes the filler's entertaining, but then other times I prefer the stretching, where it's like, I would rather them actually throw in 1 or 2 parts in an episode that are relevant and informative, instead of being like, oh, the last 3 episodes aren't in the manga and they don't actually matter at all. That being said, I still actually appreciate the fact that we're watching Z and not Kai. I enjoy it. Also, you got to finally meet Frieza, who does sound like a middle-aged smoking woman.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what...
Can you impersonate Frieza?
Zarbon, I need you to go find that Dragon Ball.
Is that pretty good?
Not bad.
Well, let's hear your Frieza.
No.
No. Give me your
Jace.
Frieza. Fine, you keep giving me Jace.
I'm Jace!
What did he say?
Captain Ginyu! We gotta put some paint on the barbie!
I tell you what, mate, we gotta put some paint on the barbie! It's the best line. Also, the very last episode, when Vegeta is explaining to Krillin and Gohan how the regeneration tank machine works, Krillin goes, wow, that's Mondo cool. As soon as he said it, I made fun of Krillin. I was like, man, that's so Mondo cool. But then the immediate next line is Vegeta saying, oh, you think it's Mondo cool.
Just I was wait.
It's like, oh my god. Yeah, it's, I don't know, there's something special about Z, and I know that Kai is better in terms of, like...
story.
Well, it's more concise, certainly. It cuts out all the filler. And also the dub is more accurate. Like, it's closer to what it's supposed to be. But Z is really entertaining and all in its own right, so I have no qualms about the fact that we're watching Z. That said, one of the things I noticed, I don't know if you noticed this, and I think I know why because I looked it up on the internet, but I felt like the voices for the characters were more accurate in Season 1.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like it felt
like there was a few errors.
There was a lot of times in Season 2 where, like, from one episode to the next, a character honestly sounded completely different. It happened to Gohan a lot.
Bulma a lot.
It happened to Bulma. A lot of times Bulma ended up sounding exactly like Chi-Chi. I'm pretty sure they have the same voice actress, and that might be why. But, like, the only person that I felt like was real consistent, Vegeta's super consistent. Yeah. Vegeta's, like, always sounds the same. But even, like, Goku, he sounded different. Like, there was a lot of times. But I looked it up, and I'm pretty sure I read this. If not, Dragon Ball fans, please correct me. That what happened was, when Funimation picked up the show, they actually got started around this time, and that's where they started doing the show, and they actually started here, went all the way to the end until they got the licensing rights to do the beginning, and that's when they went back and redid the beginning. So basically on the first season, they had all of this experience from doing the show, and we're actually starting when they just get started. So technically it should only get better from here. But not as good as Season 1. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's right. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's actually Season 3, but I think they've also divvied up the seasons so many different ways over the years that I think it actually is this. It makes sense to me that way because the voices in this are really weird and not always accurate. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you'd like to talk about Dragon Ball Z, Season 2 Funimation, which I forget what all the episodes it is. I think it's episodes like 40, I think it's 40 to 75 or something like that. I don't know, you guys can look it up. Just talk about Namek Captain Ginyu saga, and that will be fair. Don't go past that, though. Anyone who's watching the show with us would appreciate being spoiler-free from everything else. As a side note, it's also the end of the month, or not the end of the month, the beginning of the month. It's the beginning. It's February, which is crazy, and we always take the end of the vlog of the first of the month to thank our patrons. So thank you guys so much. The names are scrolling up on the right side of the screen, probably covering up Mal's face, and those are all of our, those are all of our Patreon producers. Their names scrolling up now. If you are watching and you'd like to learn more about Patreon and how you can support Mal and myself, you can do so by visiting the link in the description or waiting until the names scroll up, and there'll be a card that you can click and you can go check that out. Yeah. So thank you guys for continuing to support us. Honestly, Patreon it's made a big change in our lives, but it's also responsible for a lot of the cool stuff that happened last year in terms of like equipment purchases. It's one of the reasons we were able to upgrade our mic equipment and also get the new camera, which has been used for Q&A and Mal, but also responsible for starting Mal Makes, things like that. So we really do appreciate it. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, talk about Dragon Ball Z Season 2 or even Season 1. I assume that it's fair that if you've seen Season 2, you've also seen Season 1.
Maybe.
Probably. And tomorrow, hopefully, we'll be starting Season 3. And that takes care of the rest of the Frieza saga. I'm excited. Honestly, I'll tell you what I'm most excited for. The first episode of Season 4. Anyone, and all the Dragon Ball Z fans out there, they know exactly what I'm talking about. They're like, oh, the introduction of so-and-so character? And I'm like, yeah. It's like the best episode of Dragon Ball Z. Period. Love it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?